So less than an hour ago, Tim Tszyu improved to 20-0 with 15 KOs after defeating Japanese fighter Takeshi Inoue on main event pay-per-view. And here in the States, we didn't have a TV deal. I talked about it in my previous video, but funny enough, I'm actually impressed, but my colleague Big J is not impressed with Tim Tszyu's performance. I'm going to let you go first. And what did he do wrong to you in the ring? And what do you think he could have did? What did he do wrong, and what did you want him to do?
Well, it's not what he did wrong, it's what he didn't have. He didn't have the power to deal with a real 154, which I've been saying for the whole entirety that we've been covering Tim Tszyu. Tim Tszyu is used to beating up, blowing up smaller welterweights. That's what he's used to doing. He's used to killing guys that are smaller than him. He's not used to beating up someone that's actually bigger than him.
But in this case, Inoue wasn't smaller than him.
No, he's not used to actually someone taking his best shots and just smiling at him and saying, is that all you got? And in the later rounds, 10, 11, and 12, Inoue was actually putting the pressure on him, and Tim didn't know where the hell he was.
Mm.
So, this is the thing. You can't win world titles at 154 by beating up, blowing up welterweights. I don't give a fuck how good you are.
Yeah.
So he's exposed so many weaknesses that he's gone for the uppercut. He didn't use his combos. He's left himself wide open for overhand right. And if he goes up against Castano next, Castano will beat him.
I don't know. So
at the very least, outwork him.
To me, he did everything I wanted him to do. He showed me that he can actually box. Yeah, Inoue didn't have a game plan at all. I don't know what he was trying to do out there, what he was trying to accomplish. But Tim Tszyu shown to me, like, this is the most different we've been on an opinion regarding Tim Tszyu since we started doing these videos. Because I wanted to see him go 12 hard rounds. We actually had to work and show different tools and assets in his game. He's shown to me that the uppercut I was actually impressed with. And the biggest thing I was impressed with is the body work. And when you look at the top, 5 guys, I have to say, looking at guys like even a Liam Smith, I said in a previous video that I can see him and Tim Tszyu being a 50-50 fight. Now, I know this is just Inoue. Inoue didn't do anything. But overall, I feel that right now, from what I've been seeing from him, the skill set, I'm not saying that he can beat these guys just yet, but what I'm seeing from the skill set, I'm seeing that, he seems to have what it takes to compete at top level. We don't know how he'll do against a Castano or Charlo, and we're still waiting on any type of news on, if that rematch is going to happen. But as it stands right now, I'm ready to see Tim Tszyu, take on the Teixeiras, because I said it in my previous video that now, judging off of this performance, I think that Tim Tszyu can beat Patrick Teixeira, former WBO 154-pound champion. Now, that's the belt that Castano has, because Castano beat Teixeira. By the way, Teixeira and Magomed Kurbanov, who I feel should be the actual WBO mandatory, is fighting. They're fighting next month. Do you feel he can beat Teixeira? Like, who do you feel that Tim Tszyu can compete against at 154 pounds?
Everybody except the champions.
Mm-hmm.
I think he could beat everybody except the champions. He could beat Liam Smith. He could beat Trexaria, Kabanov. I haven't actually watched Kabanov fight to make judgment. Michael Zaliev, same story, but no chance against Charlo or Castano. Everyone else I think he could hang with, but not the champions. And I've said previously that he could beat Trexaria, because I reckon he could. He'll just gut punch the shit out of him.
Yeah.
But against Castano and Charlo, not a fucking chance. No way. They're just too good for him. He's not.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
He's just not at that. He's just not at that level yet. And he openly admitted it in the post-ring. He goes, "Oh shit, I'm not ready for this." And I'm like, "Yeah, of course you're not, because you used to beating up smaller guys. Cut the shit and fight some real 154ers." So.
Well, now he's not going to have a choice. He's going to have to, because they can't go any lower than Inoue. To me, looking at the top guys right now in the position that he's in, if he doesn't get Castano, And let me explain how he doesn't get, like, if he doesn't get Castano. It depends on Murtazaliev. If Murtazaliev, number one, IBF mandatory, the most strictest organization of the four major sanctioning bodies, if he says no, I want my title shot now. In order for Charlo Castano to happen, two, Charlo would have to vacate that title, which would make, I don't see it happening. We're not even going to talk about that. But basically, if Charlo and Murtazaliev fight because of the IBF mandate, then Brian Castano and Tim Tszyu can fight, and the WBO will likely order them into negotiations. But in the meantime, if Charlo versus Castano 2 does happen, which I don't know, then Tim Tszyu should try to fight Murtazaliev, to be, number one IBF and number one WBO mandatory. But also he would be WBA interim champion if he beat Murtazaliev. But Murtazaliev will want that, and the money would have to be there for him to give up his Charlo shot. Or, Tim Tszyu can fight the names we talked about, Liam Smith or the Kurbanov Teixeira winner. But right now, I don't want to see him fight anything less than those names. I don't even really want to see him fight Jack Houquet. Tony Harrison, Tony Harrison, I'm okay with, because he's a former WBC champion.
Yeah, I think Tony Harrison missed the boat. He had his chance and he didn't come in on. I think now that it wouldn't be worth it because he's not ranked at the WBO.
Yeah.
So why would he bother? He's not ranked the WBO or the IBF, is he? He's only ranked WBC.
Yeah.
And there's far too much going on with WBC. I mean, Sergio Garcia's got to fight Sebastian Vendora, who then has to fight Erickson Lubin.
The WBC's tied up for about a year and a half or so. That's tied up.
Yeah. Wasting his time with anyone ranked at the WBC top 15 is just wasting his time. His only shot is to go Murtazaliev or Trexeria Kurbanov winner, or roll the dice and go, bugger it, I'll have a crack at Castano. Because, he's 20-0 and he's 27. And for a world champion from Australia, he's actually going pretty slowly. If you look at all the champions over the years, 20-0, that's pretty late to get a world title shot.
Yeah, and I was thinking that, and if I was looking at that, he's 27 years old now. Like, it's time.
Well, if you look at the champions, Jeff Fenech won his first title in his seventh fight, I think, when he was about 20 years old. Jeff the Hitman Harding at 13. Jeff Horn won his fight at what? Well, he was 29, but he was, 17-0 when he beat Pacquiao? So, all these champions all won their fights long before 20-0. So, well, as I said, that last year when he spent 3 fights fighting 2 blown-up welterweights and Dennis Hogan, you can blame COVID all you want. I'm not buying that excuse. He wasted an entire year mucking around when he should have been overseas fighting in Vegas or in the UK or whatever. So, he really only has himself to blame for that. So, but, now's the time to get a title. Now's the time to go after it. And I think they probably will. I think they'll say, nah, bugger it. We'll just go after it. But here's the one thing that I've forgotten to say in every video. Here's the underlying factor, the one thing that Kostya had that Tim doesn't. Johnny Lewis. Johnny Lewis is?
No, explain it.
Johnny Lewis is Australia's version of Angelo Dundee.
Mm-hmm.
Our most successful ever trainer. Trained Jeff Fenech, trained Kostya Tszyu, trained Jeff Deadman Harding, trained a heap of other guys. He's actually coming back. He's going to be in Harry Garriside's corner. Remember that kid that won the bronze medal at the Olympics?
Yeah.
He's training this kid. So Johnny Lewis is our most successful ever trainer. And he had Kostya, I think he picked him up before he became a world champion, and he just trained him for the rest of his career. So, that's the one thing Tim doesn't have that Kostya did have. And I think that's going to be a very huge factor when Tim gets on the big stage. It's like you don't have that trainer in your corner. So that's the underlying factor. I think a lot of people are forgetting that's the one thing Kostya had that Tim doesn't.
I'm interested in what his team is going to do, because You know, they want him to be a superstar, a global superstar. He's 27 years old. He's got the name. He's got a skill set, you know, but they got to get him a TV deal. You know, the fight wasn't
Yeah, well,
broadcast.
that's right.
The fight wasn't broadcast here in the States or in the UK. That is a travesty. You know, especially
Yeah,
for a
well,
top 5, top 3 ranked guy across 3 of the major sanctioning bodies. It's crazy.
that's true. That's true.
So fighting in
Yeah, I mean,
Australia, you know, and he did acknowledge in his post-fight interview that, you know, it was a good, you know, fight to go, you know, that I went 12 rounds before he goes, I think he said, you know, on to the big time, something like that, because he's going to
well,
have to, you
yeah.
know, he's going to have to take a show on the road. These fighters are not going to, they did a good job getting fighters to come to Australia to fight him and putting on the best that they could and keeping him active at the same time. But now it's time to hit the road.
Yeah, well, damn. Well, as I said, it was time to hit the road 12 months ago after he beat Horn. But yeah, I mean, no limit. They did do a good job making the card that they did. But yeah, it is definitely time. And it was, as I said, it's been pending 12 months that he's got to go overseas. It's simple as that. I mean, the Maloney twins, Ebony, Bridges, George Kambosos, they all went overseas. They all got their title shots. So, you know, no one, as I've said many, many times before, no one's going to come here to Australia and fight him for their world title.
Yeah.
Maybe when he wins one, sure, he'll come back and defend it in Australia. And then there's this thing in Russia and Red Square that they want to happen. Anyway, we'll see if that happens. Kostya wants him to fight in Red Square because he's something he didn't do or something the Russians want to do. Okay, fair enough, that's fine. But he's got to get the world title first, and so he's got to get past Castano. And in my belief, and in his own words, he's not ready for it just yet. He's got a lot of work to do before he fights Castano.
Well, listen, it ain't. You know, he's 27 years old. You know, like it's. You know, it's time. Like it's time.
As Bruce Buffer says, it's time. It's absolutely time, and it's been time for probably about the last year and a half. So he's really got to get into it. But the thing is that I honestly believe if he fights Castano now, he'll lose. And it doesn't matter if he gets knocked out or he gets
I can't say he beats Castano yet. I can't say that.
No, because that's the thing. He can't. As I said, he could roll. He could roll with anyone else in the division, just not the champions.
Mm-hmm.
And anyone thinks that he's going to beat. I can't say this with a straight bloody face. Anyone thinks that he can beat Canelo is a fucking idiot.
Yeah, I don't even know. Yeah, I don't even want to get into that because that's kind of ridiculous. But since we're running short on time, how would you rank the undercard? Break the undercard down. Dennis Hogan, Tommy Brown.
Good win by Dennis Hogan. Dennis Hogan actually said, let's go, Brent. Isn't that fuck Joe Biden and code or something?
Yeah. I wonder.
I thought that was hilarious.
You know, why would he have something to say on that? Interesting. You know, but overall, how did he look? Like, did he look, you know?
Oh, yeah, he looked good, but then again, he was fighting a 38-year-old man who's had more than 18 months out of the ring and who's just retired. So, you know, I'd like to see him against Wade Ryan because the disappointment of the night was Joel Camilleri. Joel lost, and a lot of people saying it was a robbery. I'm like, I don't really think Joel did enough to win, but then again, I don't think he did enough to lose either. It wasn't an impressive outing by Joel either way. Even if he won, it wouldn't have been it would have been
that was looked at as an upset.
Oh yeah. It wasn't a very good fight either way. So, you know, neither guy really did that much, and it was actually a really big disappointment. Dennis put in a good performance, but then again against Tommy Brown, who's now retired. Wade Ryan put in a good solid performance, another good solid performance by Wade Ryan.
Yeah, I did watch that fight.
I'd like to see him fight Dennis. That would be an absolute cracker. So, because there's no one domestically besides Dennis that Wade could actually fight. He's got to fight. He's got to start bringing international talent in. Mm-hmm. And he's already done it. He already fought the Japanese fighter. But then again, that guy's like 11 fights in. So that's really a novice. Let's see how he goes against someone with 20, 25 fights, not just 10. So I'd really like to see Wade fight, someone from overseas with a record similar to his. Same sort of fight experience. Let's see how he goes. Because he's like with Tim Tsyzu, there's no one left on domestic level he could fight. He'll just beat them all. I thought Joel, but after that performance, Wade would beat Joel easy. That's just my opinion. So,
All right, overall, how would you
yeah.
rate the card though? I mean, was it worth the $60?
Oh, fuck no. No card's worth $60. I mean, even if it was, it was a world title fight, Tim Tszyu, they had Susie Ramadan on it and all this other stuff, no, it's not worth $60. Not even close. It's not worth, it wouldn't be worth 30. But, I mean, it was me, because there was more disappointments than, it was mediocre. It was like, 5 out of 10? That's the actual fights itself, not the quality of the show. The commentary, that's always good, but you know what I mean. The actual quality of the fights, it was like 5 out of 10. So it's certainly not worth $60. But it wasn't the worst card, but there's been a lot better too. So somewhere in the middle ground.
All right, closing thoughts.
I mean, it was a shutout by Tim. It's still, I wasn't really. I saw a lot of weaknesses, more weaknesses than strengths in Tim Tszyu's game. And I think he's got a lot of work to go before he goes to Castano. So they need to have a good hard think and think about, what's going to happen. But if he gets a title shot and he wins, great. But I don't see it happening. So,
All right, me personally, I can't rate him against Charlo or Castano yet, but I will go out and say that, a Liam Smith, I look at that as being a fight that Tim Tszyu can win. I look at him being able to defeat Patrick Teixeira. And as far as Kubanov and Murtazaliev, I'm in the same boat as Jay regarding I don't know enough yet to make, a decision on how Tim Tszyu would do against either of those fighters. But I can consider right now Tim Tszyu to be, let me see, just a crude list off the top of my head, top 5 154 pounders. My independent list, Charlo number 1, Castano number 2. See, here's the thing. I got to watch more tape on Murtazaliev and Kurbanov. And I'm not really high on Erickson Lubin. So that can round out my top 5 right there between Lubin, Murtazaliev, and Michael Dumedov. But I can say, looking at that now, I can't say Tim Tszyu is top 5.
Nah, he's about 6 or 7.
And then that's when you start getting the guys like Ismail Madrimov, Michael Soro, and Sebastian Fendora. So he's somewhere, and Tony Harrison. He's somewhere mixed in with those guys.
Yeah, he's definitely, but not world championship material.
No, not yet. But I'm impressed.
Not yet. No.
Like I said, I'm liking where he is. Take your time out, like the video, follow us on Twitter at Old Mate Big J. It's my colleague and me, T Street Controversy, and also for our boxing Twitter at T Street Controversy, and our website link right down below in the description box is for our rankings right here, Fight View 360, and the WBC app powered by the Vive Network for Roku if you have Roku, Apple, or Android. Take your time out. Only takes a couple of seconds. Hit the like button. It helps us out a lot. Also subscribe. This is T Street Controversy and Big J with FightView360.com.